the last of the cowboys. Giddy up, gone, boys. 18 wheels on the concrete. It's a slow and dying breed, rolling like Jesse James. A modern day outlaw game. If you're out here riding with me, come on back and make some noise. We're the last of the cowboys. Saddle up, boys.
Well, we're strolling along here eastbound on I-10, heading toward the old Biloxi, Mississippi. We got some gentlemen here along with us. In a minute, we'll get you to introduce yourself. Right now, we're just negotiating some of this traffic here. But you guys are looking good. We're going over there to that Gulf Coast Big Rig Truck Show. So right behind me here, we have Mr. Clown. Go ahead and reintroduce yourself, and then we'll throw it off to that gentleman there to your right.
Tim Foret. Last year we did this. I was in I'm Tony Cheramie, a.k.a. Clown, when they ain't mad at me. Anyone calls me by my government name, I tell them I died 6 months ago. I'm from Houma, Louisiana, and I'm just heading on out to the truck show, doing what I do.
And who do we have there next to you?
That's Convoy. Heading up here to the truck show with my buddies, check it out, see what it's all about.
In this group here, we got one gentleman that's actually doing some work. He's got a trailer on. I'm just teasing a little bit, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Boullion. I'm going with these guys at a truck show. I'm from Cajun, Louisiana.
10-4. Now, how is it that you're the only one doing some work here, carrying a trailer?
Out of luck of the draw, I guess, man.
And our gentleman that's leading this here little convoy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
How's it going, man? I'm Nick Boullion. I'm from Cheramie, Louisiana, running this truck for my dad behind me, Shane Boullion, my stepmom, Crystal Boullion, and we're going to head down to the show and enjoy the weekend with some friends.
10-4. So I got my eyes on you there, Clown. Why don't you tell me about that truck there? What was it running?
This here is actually, this is the big spare truck, boss man's truck, whatever you want to call it. This is his baby. It's an 04 379X. Has a 4 1/4 cat. We just stretched it out about 2 months ago. This axle, the fourth axle on this truck, is actually the axle that come off the truck you videoed last year because it burned down in August.
Oh, 10-4. So you call it a spare truck. So you guys jump in that when you need to?
Yeah, pretty much. One of the trucks go down, we'll climb in this one, and we'll handle business in this one while our truck's in the shop getting fixed.
Why don't you tell me about some of the custom parts that you got on there? Bumpers, lights, stacks, fenders, all that good stuff.
The bumper we just got on it a while back. We got this from actually 4 states, and I want to say it's a 18-inch. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. This is the spare truck. But we just put all the fenders on it in the back. There's all stainless steel fenders, and what I love about this truck here is since we stretched it out, the wheelbase is right around a 300, but this thing rides like a Cadillac now.
10-4. Go ahead and bring it on by. You can tuck in front of you there. Well, while we're waiting to regroup, I'm going to throw a question out to, I'll throw it out there to Mr. Shane. Tell these folks about this Gulf Coast Big Rig Truck Show. How'd you enjoy that last year? And, you know, what does it feel like trucking on over there to get back into it? Get into that AC?
It was nice, man. I enjoyed myself until I left the show.
What'd you enjoy the most?
I enjoyed the camaraderie that came with it, and I enjoyed the show, but I enjoyed us hanging out after the show, having supper and a few drinks and just hanging out, man. That's what it's all about.
Out of all the other shows that you go to, what is it like to be in the AC there and just relax there?
Oh, it's nice, man. I mean, the last couple of days was brutal.
What do you got there for a truck and custom parts and all that other good stuff?
She's an old one, Peterbilt, 300 wheelbase. I got a C15 Caterpillar that PDI did for me, and 18 and 355s. Just an old work truck, but I got a Lincoln Chrome bumper, Dynaflex pipes, and there's not much to the old truck, but you know, she does work, and I love her.
So Shane, how long have you had that truck for?
It's about 9 years, man. I bought it from a friend of mine who bought it brand new, and he got out of the business and he sold it to me.
So in those 9 years, what type of things have you had to do to it, like maintenance-wise, or you know, upgrades? So what have you done with it?
We freshened the motor up, and I repainted it, I guess, about 8 years ago, and about 7, 8 years ago, and you know, I just recently did a transmission, rear ends. No, not the rear ends, the clutch. I mean, she's pretty original, you know.
10-4.
Chris, last year after the show, I went into Gulfport to get a load. They loaded me, and the weather got real bad, so I had to hang out in my truck before I could, you know, secure the load down, and lightning struck my truck. They had to unload me and told me back to Lafayette.
Wow, that's a first. So, what did you find out was the cause of the problem there?
No, the lightning, when it struck, it burned all the electronics on the motor except for the computer, the TV, CV, dash cam. It burned like 20-something running lights. It just had a lot of stuff to do to it. About $10,000 worth.
Wow, I would imagine that the first thing to get fried would have been the ECM.
That's what I was nervous about, man, because that's the first thing I thought of, because I had it done in St. George, and I tell you what, man, my programming they did is on point. It's been like that for probably about 8 years. I did it right after I got the truck.
I'm glad that you got it put back together the way that you want. All right, so Chris, we're getting ready to get a good look at you here. Why don't you tell us about what you're running there for a truck and what you do with it?
This is a 2000 Mack RD. I got a little 462 at 10 speed, 390 rears, air ride. We haul dirt, gravel, asphalt, pretty much anything we can carry in a dump truck to get the job done.
So anything you can put in the dump truck there. How long have you run the truck for? And tell me about some of them custom parts you got there on it.
I've owned this truck about 8.5, 9 years or so. When I bought it, it was basically a stock truck, just painted yellow and white. I put the 18-inch boltless bumper on it, cut the headache rack, we put the 7-inch stacks on it, I put the 34-inch Peterbilt fenders on it, the visor on it, added a bunch of lights, things like that.
Now, when it comes to the show that we're going to be attending, you were there last year. What did you like about the show, and what are you looking forward to enjoying this year?
It was a good time, good people. We enjoyed being in the air condition, just hanging out with friends, having a good time, seeing trucks that we don't see every day, man. Just a nice little atmosphere.
So let me ask you there, Chris, how long you been trucking for, and why do you enjoy running a dump truck as opposed to a tractor or trailer?
I've been running trucks for 22 years now, man. I started when I was 18 years old. My dad had a dump truck.
My grandpa had dump trucks, all my uncles had dump trucks, so kindly just fell into the family tradition, man.
So you said you fell into the family tradition. That's not a bad deal. Not a bad tradition at all.
No, man, it pays the bills, keeps my daughter fed, roof over our head, so we can't complain about it too much.
Well, we got Nick there right behind me. Nick, why don't you go ahead and give us a rundown on the truck that you're running, you know, what you do with it, where you've gone with it, and all that other good stuff. And throw in some history there while you're at it.
Man, it's a 08 389 Peterbilt. It's a 285 wheelbase with a 70-inch sleeper on it. My dad bought it about 2.5, 3 months ago, and I pull a step deck with it, with also pull RG in and stretch flatbed, and I haul mainly all-field equipment, but pretty much whatever they call for, if we can figure out how to move, we'll haul it.
Well, the funny thing about you and that truck there is that a couple months ago, I was out there in Utah and I happened to come up on you. So we got some really cool pictures there cruising along. So it was a pleasant surprise to see you out there.
Yeah, man, I don't get to get out that way very often, but every now and then I get lucky, and it was definitely a surprise. I was just cruising down the road, man, and out the blue. It's an unmissable car.
So what was the rest of that trip like for you? I think you said you're coming from Colorado, going somewhere?
Yeah, I dropped in Grand Junction, Colorado, and went up to Gillette, Wyoming, reloaded, and went back to Bakersfield, California, dropped that off, and got me one coming back to the house.
Now, with driving that truck and going out there, those places there, what are you enjoying the most about what you're currently doing? And since you know, I'm not going to give away your age if you want to share your age or anything like that, but you know, give it some advice to some of those guys that want to get into a big truck. What will they need to know?
And then what they need to know is that these big freight companies, they're not gonna prepare you for the road, and neither is the truck driving school. Is the other guys on the road, the people we're running with, the guys that have been out here 10, 15, 20, 30 years. That's where you're gonna learn, man. And if you don't know if you're gonna like it, get with somebody first, because there's an industry that me and these other guys right here, we love, man. And too many people come in and not know what to expect, and they make us look bad. And we don't need that.
Yeah, you got that right. You know, a lot of guys all over the place, they're busting their butts to do what they need to do, earn a living, and they want to carry a reputation, you know, not just for themselves, but for the industry. So you're right on with that.
So they're hard enough on us as it is. We don't need more attention.
I didn't know exactly where y'all wanted to get off, because the 38 was back there, but I didn't want to cut y'all off.
Yeah, I just noticed that. They're saying we can get off at 44 up here. Hey, if you keep on and just hit 110 down to 90, it'd probably be smoother.
Chris, that load I dropped that off Tuesday in Bakersfield, California. And then I got to go to Wyoming, and then back to Bakersfield and back home, like what Nick did the other day.
All 10-4. So you got some strolling to do.
I will. That's why I leave out of here Sunday about noon. We do that round once a month.
That's not a bad deal. So, Mr. Shane, I'm getting a look here at what you got on your trailer. What is that deal back there?
It's two separators, like for the off field.
Now, you need to break that down into layman's terms.
Some kind of heat exchanger, like a separator. They use it on land rigs and stuff like that.
10-4. Well, you guys got all sorts of stuff out here in this oil field country, all sorts of things.
If you hang around long enough, you're gonna, I mean, every day's a different day.
Well, I got you here, Chris. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself when you're right there?
You wanna know about me?
Yeah, and that nice Magnum you got there.
Well, a lot of folks been wanting me to make a video about it, and that'll be coming up pretty soon. Well, what I do with the car, yeah, a lot of you guys know, but you know, it's a 06 Dodge Magnum. Currently it's got 260,000 miles on it. Gets around pretty good. It's a old 6.1 liter Hemi motor, and you know, they made a pretty good amount of horsepower and torque, you know, right out of the box. So the motor's still stock. It's putting out about 425 horsepower, 420 torque, and every time I start it up, it puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, man, that's a good feeling. And if you can't understand it, it can't be explained.
Yeah, you got that right. I used to fly around. I would go to these truck shows. I used to fly around to the shows and rent a car, and it'd take about an hour or so to rent up whatever random rental car they gave me. And it got to the point where I was just losing a lot of time. I felt like I wasn't being efficient enough, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to start driving this car around. You know, there's only about, I think, 2,000 of the 2006 SRT8 Magnums made, so it is a car that people collect. And I'm thinking, you know what, just like how you guys feel about trucks and everything, you know, what's the point in having it if you don't use it? So I decided to start, you know, try to fit the car out with the cameras and stuff, and decided to go ahead and drive to all the shows.
And I know I got the 5.7 Hemi in my pickup truck, and it's a fun motor. It's not crazy, but it's fun. So I'm sure that one's a lot more fun.
Yeah, right. Yes, it is.
And the thing a while back on Facebook, they come out with a new Magnum, it looked like, and you the first one I thought of when I saw it.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that there's a Dodge Magnums Facebook group, and there's a guy in there that does a bunch of photoshopping. So he photoshopped a bunch of, you know, some prototypes and whatnot, and people thought that they were going to re-release the car, but it's just him messing around in Photoshop.
Oh man, that's messed up.
I know, right?
I wish some of these new trucks that they're coming up with are Photoshop.
I brought y'all a bikini so you can go to the beach. Hey Chris, I don't have no exotic car like you and a Dodge truck like Nick. I drive a Ford, but I bought me a zero-turn lawnmower, 31 horse, Sky. That thing is fun.
I imagine that, right? Are you like that guy who go down the road drinking beer on his lawnmower?
Too hard, man. I only had it about 2 months, 3 months. I ain't gonna waste a beer on it.
At least y'all were lucky to get what y'all wanted. Back in February, I went truck shopping for myself. I had a nice, brand spanking new Chevrolet Silverado, picked out, 4-door. Somehow I ended up going home with a brand new Cadillac for the wife.
But she happy though.
Chris, the messed up part was she wasn't even with me.
Well, you know what? That makes you a good man. It makes you a good man. I hope she was happy when you got back home with it there, right?
She called me stupid, wanted to know what I was doing in that thing. I said, it's for you.
So Shane, what are some of the things that people won't really realize that you guys have to do to get your trucks ready?
We'll go as far as run them up on ramps, get underneath there with a pressure washer, clean them, you know, clean the inside wheels, just all the undercarriage. You know, it's maintenance, but I mean, it also looks good at a show.
There's one big thing is a lot of people don't realize you definitely ain't just gonna go to the truck wash and show up. You gotta put some hands onto it.
It's definitely a lot more effort than everybody thinks it is.
Even though I'm an owner, there's still a lot of things I do to prep the trucks for a show as well.
So it's not like you get off the road, you come home, and the truck is ready to go. So what do you guys have to do in order to get your truck ready, you know, for something similar to that?
We just cleaned it for like one day. I just cleaned on it because I try to keep my truck in clean condition most of the time, but it takes a lot of wiping. We clean inside the hood, you know, like waxing inside the hood, you know, just places like that, you know, where when you open the hood, everything's even. Of course, we've been to truck shows where they look inside your air conditioner vent for dust.
That's a bit over the top, but I think it's normal for some shows for it to be of that nature. You know, some people refer to those shows as white glove shows. I believe Matt's is like that. What show was that?
It was the Dallas show, the Great American Truck Show. Hey man, it's more of a cleaning contest than a truck show. I mean, you almost don't enjoy it because you're so, you know, so into cleaning. It's just almost unfriendly. You know, what you got to go through.
I hear you, and that's where I think a show like this is a bit different because you get to, you know, relax and just make sure it's clean and whatnot, and then off you go to socialize there, right?
Sure.
Well, I'll tell you guys, it was fun cruising along with you guys here from Slidell over here to the show. I'm sure everybody else is going to start filing in here pretty soon, and you guys get all cleaned up, sorted out, and we'll be talking to you soon.
All right, bud. Have yourself a good afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you after a while.
Take it easy, man. Fun running with you.
Again.
Yeah. Again.
My body's jealous. Yeah, but there's a difference between jealous and hating. I'm not hating, I'm just jealous.
I think he's just yelling.
All right, Chris, it was a good time, bud. Enjoyed it.